Hi, my name is Christina Sell, and this is a short little lesson on tips for practicing and teaching Pincha Mayurasana, or forearm balance. Tail of the peacock pose. So, tail of peacock pose, Pincha Mayurasana, one of the things that's so interesting about the posture is some people will have an easier time with this posture than they will handstand because the center of gravity is lower. It takes less force to kick to the wall than it does in handstand. However, it's also a lot harder for other people who are stiffer in their shoulders because you have to have a much bigger shoulder opening for this posture than you do in handstand. So it kind of depends on someone's flexibility and their strength ratio, which one of those poses feels more advanced to them. Having said we need a fair amount of upper back opening. To me, one of the most primary things that we can do to prep ourselves and our students for a good Pincha Mayurasana uses a block to open up the upper back. Our bony thoracic region of the spine has some trouble bending. Usually right around T12 vertebrae, we've got a place of hypermobility. But up a little higher, it's hard to get that part to move in and to get this part of the shoulders to open for a good Pincha Mayurasana. So I take the block and I lift my chest and take this block right into the middle of my shoulder blades, not underneath them, but so that the block sits right between my two shoulder blades. And then I'm going to take my arms back and stretch them over my head. Lift my chin, take my throat back and look up. Then I reach for the floor, turn my palms up and stretch my fingernails towards the floor. Upper back opening. Really good work like that. You can even take your sticky mat, grab hold of the sides, and stretch. Or stretch it longer if you're in a different place in your sticky mat. Alright, so that's that big upper back opener. Starts to get the chest and everything prepared for Pincha Mayurasana. Right, then there's a lot of ways to work on this. To learn the hand placements for Pincha Mayurasana. One thing that works very well is to take your elbows directly underneath your shoulders, to interlace your hands, stretch your forearms down onto the floor. Lifting your chin and take the head of your arm bone back by softening right behind your heart. Super good stage. Until the students can do this, they don't need to do much more. Just spend a lot of time teaching this and helping the students get that part of their back, right where the block was, to move into their body and to stay strong in the upper arms. Then you build onto here with your sort of half dog shape, or sometimes this is called dolphin. You'll notice that I've got my hands in this interlaced hand position, very similar to headstand. So I would teach that. This shape of the arm, like a hammer, is a good biomechanical position for the arm. It's a very stable position for the arm. So this might be a very entry-level hand position to teach Pincha Mayurasana. And then from there, I take the same arm position and we teach the student to have it on this side of the block. Same basic setup. Walking in, stabilizing the upper arm to vertical, and moving the upper back in as though there was a block there. Next hand position, I teach my students to have their hands on either side of the block, like so. Final and more advanced hand position, which increases the external rotation of the arm but diminishes your access to your strength for most, is this palms up position. Very healthy position for the shoulder, but certainly not an entry position. So all of those positions, up, palms down, sides of the block, all the way back to here, could be done in the half Pincha Mayurasana, downward facing dog dolphin type position. Super great work in and of itself as the peak posture to learn how to approach the pose, because so many of these poses are in the setup, so I take a lot of time teaching beginners the setup appropriately. Then, for many students to get familiar with that position, I actually teach them how to go to the wall into a headstand and how to push up. The newer student many times has the strength to hold the pose once they're in it, but not the strength to maintain the upper arm integrity and the upper back relationship to the upper arm integrity on the way up once they're in motion. So I take that little challenge out of it and I teach them how to get up from a headstand. Elbows, and I take the knuckles directly to the wall. Soften right behind the heart, lift your hips, and then you walk in. Place the top of your head down onto the floor. Little bunny hop up, ding dong, like from the handstand lesson that we had. Then push down, lift up, and then look. I'll have the student from this point, though, come down without putting their head back down on the floor. Because if they lack the strength to lower down slowly, many times they'll come crashing onto their head and their neck. So once they're up, I have them come down from there. That teaches familiarity with the position so that when they start to add motion to it, they're not kicking up to an unfamiliar place. They've been trained in the half place, they've been trained with their feet on the wall, so now they know where they're kicking to. And I do those same hand progressions. This is a strong and stable hand position. Hands on the outsides of the block, pushing the wrist right where the watch would be. Push that part of your wrist down. Really good cue. Palms flat. Next stage. And at this stage, one of the things I start working on is not just getting up to the wall, but actually pushing through the tips of the elbows to bring the upper back in, as though there was a block there, so that now the chest is not so much facing down towards the floor with the banana back going into the back, but by bringing your chest through, you get a little opening in the shoulders, as well as more length in the spine. And when someone can hold for a while at the wall, we have them bring both feet up off the wall together. Nice balance. It's a really great progression for how to just get up to the wall for Pincha Mayurasana. And the use of the hands. Someone who needs a little bit more support, I take a belt, make it into a loop, and I belt right above the elbows. And this gives many people enough stability and support to achieve the form of the posture. For more tips about how to get to the wall and how to use scissor kicks and how to use the wall and getting up to the wall in a handstand that can be applied to Pincha Mayurasana, watch the same series of clips that we have posted here on YouTube that I've done for handstanding. You'll get a lot out of it. Okay, thanks. Pincha Mayurasana.